My name is Jack Mitchell, and I own numerous waste management companies. So, folks, around here, they call me the Rubbish King. Was formerly married to Emma Parker, and she kept. She used her maiden name because she was a lawyer. She needed it for her profession. She seems to live her whole life as if it was just a professional endeavor. She never used anything else then. Using her maiden name in any social context. Emma was okay with my trash management, back while I was paying for her expensive law school tuition after. She spent years working as a paralegal. I noticed she was just as acute as the lawyer she worked for. She chose to go to law school, even though I run several successful firms and create more money than many of the prestigious lawyers. She rubbed shoulders with Emma. Soon after, they started looking down on me, getting a job at a legal firm. Late evenings decreased intimacy and increased. Disrespect reached its pinnacle over several. After several weeks, I began to suspect she was having an affair because she appeared to consider oneself a goddess who I wouldn't interact with regular folk. I figured she was seeing one of her lawyers. Colleagues. I quickly realized I needed undeniable proof is something that would hold up in court. If I had recently filed for divorce, she would have grabbed half of my business and a significant portion of my wealth, but I could prove she was unfaithful to one of her lawyers. Friends, I might be able to sue her. Firm. They'd probably pay a lot to avoid scandal and possible loss of clients. May have enough to cover what I'd lose in the divorce. Perhaps my logic was faulty, but that's who I was thinking at the time. I based my actions on that. Emma's office hasn't. Every year, an annual Christmas celebration is held. She often invites me, but I have always turned her until this year, when I accepted. She was astonished and quickly began developing reasons for me to stay. There is no one there for you at home. Talk to just a bunch of bragging lawyers regarding their charging hours. Do you really? I'm not interested in listening to that all night. Mind, as long as I'm with you, I said. As long as I can keep an eye on you. Find out who you're cheating with. What I thought. Almost every day before the party, Emma might provide another excuse I could employ to back out. I did not take the bait. I kept telling her I was looking forward. Even on the night of the party, she was getting dressed, and she made one final, "I'm sorry to see you have a. Are you sure you want to have such a bad time?" "Yes, sweetheart." I realized her problem wasn't with my looks. Folks have informed me that I am pretty gorgeous, and I stay in good shape. I was wearing an Armani suit and wasn't slob. I just work with rubbish. They didn't like it when I pointed out. She also dealt with waste in a different. We arrived at the party with the second wave of STS aims to. Fashionably late, most tables were already taken, but we located one nearby dance floor with only one other pair. After we had settled, we took our seats, and I offered to fetch beverages for us. My first. The conflict of the night transpired. While I waited in line for our beverages, a man who resembled one of the firm's lawyers approached me. "I don't think I've met you before. Who are you here with?" I said, "I am here. My wife, Emma Parker Mitchell, and I." I didn't think she was still married. We've been happily married for 8 years. Now we've been married for over 10. He looked taken aback for a time. Then I started giggling, believing I was making a joke. Just demonstrated to me that sometimes the truth is funnier than. More than once, I heard folks. Typically, people refer to me as the Rubbish King. It didn't come with snarky laughing. Genuinely bothers me. I had always expected being treated this way by these snobs. To them, I was of the lower class, virtually in the gutter. Level slime. I observed Emma as she mingled with numerous lawyers and paralegal secretaries, with their spouses or dates for the evening. At our table, she spoke cordially. During dinner with the others, when dancing started, I decided to give it a shot, and asked Emma to dance. She looked as if she could scarcely stand being noticed. I tried, but I didn't care. Take command during the slow dances, but soon other males began cutting in. She then accepted a few invitations from her lawyer pals for both quickly and slow dances. I gave up and simply sat. I returned to see her more closely about it. 1 hour into the dance, a middle-aged, a distinguished-looking man approached us. He only had eyes for Emma, unlike. In most cases, he did not seek my consent. He was claiming her, not simply asking. Emma's face brightened up when she was asked to dance. Seeing him, she immediately accepted and stood up without even looking at me for approval I thought I might have discovered. My attention was completely focused on them as I watched them dance slowly. Her body language confirmed my suspicions, but nothing was overt enough to receive a scathing. So was my gut instinct proof of. Fortunately, I had an affair. Another source of knowledge is an uncommon. I never informed Emma that I had been. The CIA recruited him out of college. It turned out that I had a really exact skill. In reading lips, I accomplished numerous. Successful clandestine missions were being taught to read lips in a Middle Eastern. My time at the CIA, however, was cut short when a whistleblower is revealed. Everyone in my department, including myself, does not. Interested in a desk job, I left agency, so I was sitting back, watching Emma dance with this man. My mind raced through all the skills I possessed. Picked up by the CIA, I focused on their lips, attempting to pick up anything damning. They were deeply engaged in the conversation, and I couldn't catch. Everything I could see was sufficient to fuel my. Even more suspicious, it appeared that I was on the right track, but needed more tangible proof. I stood up and positioned. I could see Emma talking to her dance partner from the majority of angles. I couldn't see his face, but here's what. Emma, did you manage to lip read? His room for tonight. 322 Emma. Did you put him? Yes, I just did. He put it in his drink a few minutes ago. I can't believe you'd take Emma. We planned to make love in the same. My hubby sleeps in that room. So naughty and dangerous. Him you love. The Emma pretend you don't Emma, are you? I am confident he will not wake up too soon. Think about me if I promised you my ass. Oh, Stanley, you're gonna get my ass. That was enough for me. Quickly poured the remainder of the tainted drink on myself, and the table is excused. Myself, and hurried to the restrooms. I passed them and went straight for the exit. I hoped I hadn't ingested enough of the medicine has yet to be affected, or it wasn't a strong dose. Unfortunately, I was mistaken on both counts. Beeping monitors, flashing lights, and the fragrance of booze was my welcome back. Consciousness, apparently I had an automobile accident after falling asleep while driving home after the party. As I looked around, I noticed a nurse. I was going to ask her a question when Emma went into the room and quickly sat up and shouted, "Get that woman out of here." Emma dashed out of the room I kept saying, "She's the one who almost killed me. I want to talk to A." Now, the nurse attempted to calm me down. The medical staff assumed that I was having some kind of crazy episode. I composed myself and said, "I'll explain this. Simply put, I will sue you personally in the hospital if you don't. Get a policeman here within the next 15 minutes. Minutes I've been drugged. Give a speak. Check for liquid Badril and other knockout medicines. I believe my wife and her lover attempted to kill me. I exaggerated what I knew, yet it worked within 15 minutes. A police officer took my statement. I informed him that I had overheard my wife and her lover discuss, drugged me, and dumped my body so they may have sex. I didn't say that I had lip pad there. During the conversation, I suspected drugging and an attempted kidnapping would result in. The police informed me I needed to come to the station after being discharged to submit a formal complaint. I said I would until I was kidnapped. I was killed after leaving the hospital. The cop didn't seem especially concerned about my safety while waiting for. After I was dismissed, a nurse came in and gave me. I had received the toxicological report results. Heavy drug depends on the amount of drugs in my system. If I had consumed the entire glass, it would probably have killed. The hospital staff had previously. I Ted this to the police, and I heard attempted murder for the first time. Before, there was a policeman stationed outside my door, and the second. The officer who interviewed me was far more serious in her questioning when I was dismissed. The next day, I went home, and there was a police cars frequently passed past my residence. But I didn't feel in danger. Emma didn't. She was at home, but her belongings were still there. I discovered that she was arrested at our residence earlier. Her lover came to convince me not to inform the law firm about their plans. Rendezvous at the hotel. They thought that was the only offense they had committed. However, Emma and Mark were charged with attempted murder. I imagine Emma. She must have fallen after hearing the charge as the police handcuffed her. Naturally, both lawyers declined to speak. Without their own legal representation, the district attorney wanted to trial Emma. Separately, Mark hoped that Emma realized she was going to be convicted. She would testify against Mark, her lover. However, as a junior partner with the firm, the DA's plan did not work out in these situations. They were too entangled to be. Emma attempted to contact me. Before the trial, she left messages stating she was innocent of any attempts to kill me. Oddly, she didn't think cheating on me deserved an apology. Disregarded her messages. I swiftly withdrew all the funds from our joint accounts. She cut all other financial relationships with me. Her father had to pay her lawyer until I was finally forced to return half of the monies during the trial. The toxicological report of the medications discovered in my system was the essential evidence. A forensic scientist with expertise in poisons, knockout medications, and date rape drugs testified on the science, the name of the medicine I was given, and the danger I would have encountered if I had. I was the star, having drank the entire drink. Witness, the defense focused on my lip-reading talents are accurate. I questioned how I could be so convinced of what I noticed while most lip readers performed just above 50% accuracy numerous times. CIA staff personnel testified about I have significantly higher proficiency than the average. I even displayed my skills in court. Next, the defense attorney attempted to present an alternate theory asserting I'd poisoned myself to frame my wife and her lover accused of attempted murder. If successful, this plan will ensure that I got all of the assets from the divorce plus a substantial settlement from a lawsuit against. I hope I could join the law firm in reality. The judge was not as crafty, impressed by my forthright expression of how foolish I found the defense attorney's claim when it was. Neither Emma nor Mark took the defense's turn. They testified they brought in another. A forensic chemist testified that the medicine probably wouldn't have been fatal. They also have a sign language expert testify to the widespread errors of. I really enjoyed lip reading. My lawyer asked him whether some lip readers had more accuracy than others. He responded with a yes, and he was asked if he had ever observed me gauge my accuracy, and he admitted it. Hadn't the only other witness. Sergeant H. Haskins is a police officer who interviewed the people at our. During the party, he testified that no one at the table reported seeing my wife is airing with my drink. The defense rested their argument boiled. Ultimately, no one saw Mark give Emma any substance that no one saw Emma put. There was nothing in my drink. Evidence suggesting I hadn't drugged. I'm just a police officer. Finished testifying for an elderly woman in The gallery repeatedly attempted to obtain the district attorney's attention is on her. Persistence caused a disruption, prompted the to send an assistant to find out what was bothering her. The assistant returned quickly and announced, "We need a recess. The has successfully requested a 15-minute break while the dad went to speak with the woman I looked over at." Emma saw a look of horror on AC Cross. When she saw the woman, her face instantly engaged in a tense conversation with her lawyer after the recess was requested by the district attorney. Permission for a rebuttal witness to testify when asked whose testimony was being rebutted. Police Officer H. Haskins, Emmy's lawyer, urged him to speak with you. Honor, I request another recess during. What time will my client change her? Marin's attorney reacted strongly to the word crazy was thrown around several. Throughout their discussion, Emma and her lawyer agreed to plead guilty, accept a 3 to 5 year sentence in exchange for testifying against Mark the agreed on the deal that the elderly woman had informed the dad that the police officer. I had asked her if she had seen Emma. I've been adding knockout powder to my drink since. He had not specifically asked if Emma had put anything in my drink. She said no. To the knockout drug question, no further questions were asked. The woman recalled seeing Emma put something into my drink. Emma had claimed it was medicine to alleviate the hangover I supposedly always got from drinking too much. The woman dismissed the idea of knockout drugs because she believed it was hangover medicine. It took several more months for Janet's guilty plea and sentencing to be finalized. Stanley received a new trial where Janet became the key witness. She detailed how Stanley pursued her and their affair began. She swore that her intention was only to deceive me, and Stanley was responsible for choosing the drug and its dosage. In response, Stanley argued that he had only followed Janet's instructions and that she knowingly administered an excessive amount of the drug, fully aware of its potential deadly effects. Stanley's attorney Th. and proposed a new theory. Janet had manipulated and planned from the start to frame Stanley and cause harm to me. This would rid her of a husband whose inheritance she stood to gain and eliminate a lover whose junior partnership she coveted. My car accident disrupted her plans. Stanley wept at the thought that he might have been capable of harming someone. Ultimately, the jury believed Janet's version over Stanley's. He was convicted and sentenced to 10 to 15 years in prison. I was allowed to testify at Stanley's sentencing hearing. Tears welled in my eyes as I spoke. I shouldn't be here today. I should be buried in Riverside Cemetery instead of sitting in that padded chair. My wife's lover should be standing beside my grave celebrating their successful disposal of the garbage. Man, she should have inherited a fortune. She should be out spending my money with her lover and accomplice. Don't be fooled. Neither of them is remorseful that I nearly died. They're upset that I survived and they got caught. It was my ability and lip reading that saved my life. I had already consumed roughly a quarter of the drink my wife had spiked with medication supplied by her lover. When I discovered it had been tampered with, the amount I did ingest was enough to knock me out and throw my automobile or slamming into several shrubs. If I had hit the nearby tree, I would likely be dead. Exams on the medicines in my bloodstream confirmed that if I had completed the drink, I would not have survived. As my wife and her lover indulged themselves in the same room while I was dying, my wife and her lover stated they just planned to drug and betray me. They both argue she incorrectly delivered a potentially deadly dose of medicines. Even if true, do they get to simply say, oops? I don't want to slap on the wrist. I think so, but maybe my opinion doesn't. I was supposed to be dead. As said, Stanley received 10 to 15 years and Janet received 3 to 5. as they led Janet out of the courtroom following Stanley's punishment was. She shouted an apology to me, retorted, "Read my lips, I don't care," and the divorce procedures with Janet was straightforward, given her incarceration and absence of contestation. I suppose she was truly ashamed of herself, actions, and the risk she placed me in. Unintentionally, I achieved what the defense lawyer said I meant: acquiring all of my assets. Marriage with discussions involving law firm and settlements from Stanley's lawsuits. I was not simply affluent earlier, but even wealthier now given my. You might pursue a career in waste management. Say I am truly filthy rich. What surprised me was the number of women who in the months after the trial aimed to fill the currently vacant. The status of rubbish queen is hardly shocking. None of the applicants were female. Lawyers,